With stunning visual design and one of the most fun gameplay to boot, the most unique rank 3 deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is here, and is ready to irradiate our hearts. It is none other than Materiactor. Taking tenacity to a whole new level, these serpentine creatures have adapted to their radioactive surroundings and emerged as something beautiful and majestic. Dawned with vibrant colors and mutative traits from head to tail, the Materiactor monster are truly a sight to behold. Their adaptive nature also reflects in one of the coolest gameplay mechanics in the game, taking their XZ materials and adding them straight to your hand. Talk about resourceful. If you go first, you can add 10 traps to your hand to reinforce your board. Or if you go second, you can add board breaker or extension to fuel your plays. Let's explain how you can do this exactly. This is the full Materiactor breakdown. This archetypes revolves around two cards: the main Materiactor boss monster, Materiactor Execute, and the Materiactor Meltdown. Execute reads: you can detach one material from this card, either special summon one Materiactor monster from your deck, or add a Materiactor spell or trap from your deck to your hand. If your opponent normal or special summon a monster or monsters, except during the damage step, you can add up to 2 material from this card to your hand, including a Materiactor card. Then, if a normal monster is in your graveyard, you can return one card on the field to the hand. And Materiactor Meltdown state that during your main phase, you can excavate the top 6 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add one excavated Materiactor card to your hand. Also, place the rest on top of the deck in any order. Then, you can add one card attached to a rank 3 XZ monster you control to the hand. If your XZ monster activates its effect, you can attach the top card of your deck to one Materiactor XZ monster you control. How this works is, when you have both of these cards on the field, you can attach the top card of your deck onto your execute every time an XZ monster effect trigger. Then, you can use the Materiactor Meltdown first effect to reorder the top of your deck and add one of the material that you like from your execute to your hand. The reordering effects of Meltdown is also very useful to guarantee your next draw or your attach onto your execute. And then, if your opponent summons a monster, you can add another card from your execute to your hand. Now that's what I call value. There is a bit of an RNG element for the top card of your deck, but it's also one of the things that make this deck very fun to play. Okay, let's move on to the rest of the Materiactor package. A small note, Materiactor is actually one of those old forgotten archetypes that Konami has randomly given support to, and the old card, well, they were laughably bad. There's actually only 3 of them, and the best one is the Materiactor Gigadra. It reads: you can discard one card, special summon one level 3 normal monster from your hand or deck, or if you discarded a normal monster to activate these effects, you can special summon one Materiactor monster instead. This card does provide you an extra body to make a rank 3 XZ, albeit very inefficiently. The normal monster tie-in of this card is already very suspect, but the fact that this is the only Materiactor monster that exists at the time makes you wonder like, what the hell, Konami? With the new support, this card become a little bit better, but it's still one of the worst Materiactor monsters, so I would just only play one of these. One of the other 2 cards from this batch is the Materiactor Gigaboros, the only other Materiactor XZ monster. This card gains 500 attack and defense for each card in your hand. It can also attach one Materiactor monster from your deck to itself, and it can add one of the material attached to it to your hand during the opponent's turn. You wouldn't make this card going first, but it's a pretty decent card to make going second because it can get very large. The last card from this batch is the Materiactor Annulus. It detaches one XZ material from a monster you control, and then you can send that card to your field. It is a pretty interesting idea, but it's not very practical, so it has fallen to the wayside of obscurity. Thankfully, this archetype get a facelift in 2025 with the release of new cards in the Perpetual Maze. The best starter of the bunch is the Materiactor Zepwing. It can special summon itself if you control a Materiactor card, and when it's summoned, you can add one Materiactor card from your deck to your hand. On top of that, you can either special summon or add to your hand one level 3 normal monster from your graveyard. This is the linchpin of the archetype. Not only does it provide you with a free body, it also searches for your key card, the Materiactor Meltdown. And the best part is, you can always have access to this card through your Exegod, provided you can make a rank 3 Exi. The second best card is the Materiactor Archetypes. It reads, you can reveal this card in your hand and discard one other cards. Add one level 3 normal monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except the discarded card. Then, you can special summon this card in defense position. Quick effect, you can discard this card, then target one level 3 Exi monster you control. It gains 1500 attack until the end of this turn. The best part about this card is that it's an extra level 3 body that doesn't require the normal summon and provide you with the material to make a rank 3 play. Also, the attack boost effect makes this card a pretty decent target to add back from your Exi monster. A pretty solid card overall. Since this archetype has a normal monster tie-in, the second wave of support does provide it with a normal monster. The last monster of the deck, Prima Materiactor. Konami does take a pity on this archetype and give this card an actual effect by making it a pendulum monster. It gives your Exi monster 100 attack for each material on the field. But most importantly, it can attach itself to one Materiactor Exi monster to draw a card, which is crucial to activate Exegod effect and can help you draw into a key card after you have reordered your deck with your Meltdown. This is a very important card in your deck, but you still don't want to see it in your hand. To round out the archetype, we have the Materiactor Meltdown. It can excavate the top 6 cards of your deck, turn your 1 card level 3 normal monster into an Exi, and it can help attach the top card of your deck into your Materiactor Exi monster. But since a lot of these effects overlap with your Materiactor Meltdown, this is definitely a win more kind of card and you can safely skip it. Lastly, we have Materiactor Critical. It's an Omni-Negate that also adds one material that's attached to one Materiactor Exi monster you control to your hand, which is a bit better than your average counter trap, so it's a pretty good end board piece. With flexible play pattern and almost no deck building restriction, this is a solid archetype, even for modern Yu-Gi-Oh standard. It can easily spit out 3 Exi monsters while also giving you an amazing hand value. Not to mention, Exegod has one of the rarest summon animation in the game. Fun fact, Exegod is the inspiration for the model of my channel mascot, so it's suffice to say that this is one of my favorite archetypes in the game. I will show you the basic combo of this deck in a demo duel later, but first, let's check out the deck list. For this first iteration of the deck, I built a very basic list with some hand trap of choice for this meta. This is a 45 card list, but you can definitely do with 40 cards as well. I just want a healthy amount of hand traps so I can reliably attach them to my Exegod. And here is the extra deck list. Only Exegod, the Goblin Biker Exi, and the Exi Armor package is core here. Zeus and Titans are good, but they are not necessary. There is a few generic rank 3 Exi in this list that you can easily replace with something else, like Totem Bird or Cicada King. Even Little Knight is not that good here, so you can use whatever you have in your collection in this slot instead. Let's explain more about the engine we are using in this list. We are playing the Terrortop Techatomboard combo because this is the best rank 3 engine in the game. In case you're unfamiliar, Terrortop special summon itself on an empty board, then search for your Techatomboard, and then with Terrortop on the field, you can also special summon Techatomboard, and voila, a free rank 3 Exi. The second engine we are running here is the Goblin Biker engine. They are an extension play that can also add a lot of disruption to your board. It kinda go like this. You first make Big Gabonga. It will then search your deck for a Duck Charger. Duck Charger special summon itself by detaching from the Big Gabonga, then it will search for one of your Goblin spells, which will then give you access to either the Boom Mark or the Cloud Exploder, and using their respective effects will give you another rank 3 XZ. We are also running one Goblin Backer gone wild in this list. It is not necessary for the combo, but it does add one extra disruption to your board. You can use Big Gabonga's effects to attach this card to itself during the end phase, and then during the opponent's turn, you can use either the Boom Mark or the Cloud Exploder to detach this card from your Big Gabonga and trigger its effect to attach one card on the field to your Big Gabonga. The last engine we are running here is the XZ Armor package. They can trigger your Materiactor Meltdown a bunch of times to help attach the card you want onto your extra card. And the Full Armor XZ also have synergy with the Goblin Backer package to summon another disruption during the opponent's turn. And that is all to this version of Materiactor. Now, let's see the basic combo of this deck in a demo duel. This is the basic line when you have the best starter in this deck, which is the Teraton, and no other card needed, so let's pretend that we don't have other extender in the hand. We start off by going to Big Gabonga. Big Gabonga will now search for your Duck Charger, which will special summon itself and search for your Grand Entrance. We will now use Grand Entrance to search for the Cloud Exploder, and then special summon it by detaching one XZ material from the Big Gabonga. We turn these two bodies into the Materiactor Exegod, and then we use Exegod effect to special summon the Zeppwing from your deck, which will then subsequently search for the key Materiactor Meltdown. Using Grand Entrance effect from your grave, detach the other XZ material from your Exegod and add back the Cloud Exploder from your graveyard to your hand. With your open normal summon, you can use your Cloud Exploder to bring back the Duck Charger from your grave. And you can once again use these two bodies to make your Torpedo XZ. Now, with your Materiactor Meltdown on the field, you can start triggering your XZ effects and attach the top card of your deck onto your Exegod until you see a card that you like, at which point you can use your Meltdown effect to add it to your hand. This part does require a bit of RNG, but because we build a deck full of hand traps, it is pretty easy to hit one here. With a bit of luck, you could excavate Exaraptor for an extra extension, or the Primal Materiactor for a guaranteed draw into a card you want after you have reordered your deck with the Meltdown. I would prioritize the Primal Materiactor here, because it would enable the Exegod effects for next turn. One thing of note, you need to have no material under your Armor Fortress to turn it into the Dark Knight Lancer. Now, if you have more extension, like the Materiactor Exoraptor, you can turn it into more disruption, like Cicada King or the Gossip Shadow. One last step is during the end phase, you can attach the Goblin Backer gone wild onto your Big Gabonga. With this board, you can attach one monster your opponent controls to your Big Gabonga whenever an XZ material is detached from a monster on the field. This effect can be triggered whenever you want as a quick effect with your Cloud Exploder from your grave by detaching the Goblin Backer gone wild from your Big Gabonga. This will also trigger the Gone Wild to attach another card on the field onto your Big Gabonga. Then, you can use your Armor XZ to turn your Cloud Exploder and your Duck Charger into another disruption. That's not all. With the Armor XZ from the grave, you can banish it to equip one XZ monster from the field or grave to your Dark Knight Lancer. And guess what? It will now trigger to attach another monster on the field onto itself. Talk about suckage. You even have other cards you add back from your Exegod to back it up. This is just a basic line of Materiactor. This deck actually requires a bit of finesse to pilot it correctly, because you need to learn when to activate your effect optimally. So there is a bit of a learning curve to it, but when you master the basic, this deck does become very enjoyable. So keep practicing. Now, let's check out some replay of the deck.